weeks that I've been here. She's one who maintains any number of aspects of our world here at JFS, here in our gift shop, making sure that we have those beautiful pieces of Judaica that we bring to our home and bring Judaism into our homes with these beautiful pieces of art. But what you may not know, which she taught to me most recently, was that there is a community garden just outside of the Federation building that she tends to on a daily basis. 11 raised beds, I believe. Where's Sandy? Am I getting that right? Yeah. Am I right? My facts are correct? And so we invite her to be our speaker this evening. As a woman who's been in our hallways and who gets to see the real life of our congregation, but also as one of the many caretakers of our community in any number of ways who does the hard work. That may not always be the parts that excite us so much, to be out in the fields early in the morning and late at night picking the vegetables that we planted, that we were so excited to watch grow, or to shop and find the Judaica that we want in our homes. But she does that for us, and so she has, for us, she gives us the honor of hearing what it is to see our world from her eyes. We invite Sandy Nogg, our Bima, to share her story.
What's going on now?
So for those of you who were here 6 years ago when we first started these thoughts, sorry. It's a rerun. Wendy called me and I said, we have 800 families strong. Surely there's somebody else who will do this. And she said, well, but we want you to. And I said, well, if you can find my speech from 6 years ago, which I was pretty sure they couldn't, I'll consider it. And 30 minutes later, she emailed, found it. So here we go with a few alterations. Gift shop lady tells all. Kind of sounds as if I'm going to give tabloid information on fellow congregants. But it's only a hook. It's a hook that made Paul Epstein interested enough that he stopped me at Bagleton today and said, who are you going to talk about? It was just a hook. So I hope you're not too disappointed. What I'm going to tell you is something of how I came to be the gift shop lady, or the candy lady, depending on the age group identified. As for this candy lady business, I need to give you a disclaimer immediately. Admittedly, I have candy in the shop for strictly selfish reasons. In the old days, when the shop was in the education wing, where some of you probably didn't even know we were, I could hear the kids coming and going, sometimes quietly, sometimes not so much. But those who know me know I'm a kid person and a supporter of kids. I have always found them endlessly entertaining and also very wise. So to hear them and never see them was most unappealing to me. But then, an idea. I'll get candy. They always come in for Hanukkah gelt, so why not candy year-round? At first, parents in carpools were less than enthusiastic. So I argued the old tale of the rabbis teaching Talmud with honey on the edges of the pages to make learning sweet. It wasn't really accepted by some people. But after all these years, it's routine now. And I've watched your children and your grandchildren grow and have their children. It's been great. All these years later, I've had a wonderful time. 2 of those kids are in this group tonight because they allowed their parents to make them come. I thank them for that. And some of the other ones are ones that are still my candy kids. Abby sells for me some days. Now on to my journey from Palmer, Nebraska, located approximately 35 miles northeast of Grand Island, to the Temple gift shop. Oops, wait. Another thing your kids do when they come to the gift shop is hone their math skills. You can't imagine what it takes to buy gummy bears, Twizzlers, and Tootsie Rolls. Now, back to Palmer, Nebraska. It's a story that actually began in the late 1800s when a Filipino boy in the southern island of Mindanao decided that his God-given calling was to become a doctor. He was raised as a Catholic and educated in missionary schools, eventually graduating from Solomon University, now the University of the Philippines, and immigrating to the United States for his medical school. His was an inspirational journey leading to an exemplary life of boundless dedication to his patients and his profession. Along the way, he converted from Catholicism to Protestantism after deep thought and hours of prayer. No small thing in those days. While my sister and I didn't know much of our father's background story as youngsters, we always knew that he felt each person should have a choice in their religious preference, and he saw all people as his equal. We were baptized, went to religious school, and were confirmed in the Methodist Church, where our mother was at various times a Sunday school teacher, a vacation Bible school teacher, a youth group chaperone, and a congregant who, with our father, my sister, and myself, regularly attended services. In a small town, population 550, with 5 churches, 6 congregations, no Catholics, no Jews. A lot of one's social life revolves around one's church affiliation, and my family's life was no different. My sister Cindy and I often not only attended our own youth group, but also went to picnics, hayride rides, swimming parties, skating parties, and even conferences with our friends belonging to other church groups. So when the time came that my sister chose Catholicism and converted, and I eventually chose Judaism, it was with the wholehearted love and support of our parents. By the time I graduated from high school and decided to go into nursing, little cracks in my belief system were beginning to nag. I took my liberal arts education at Duchesne here in Omaha, which was then a women's college, as well as the institution it remains today. I found the Nuns of the Sacred Heart very inspirational and attended Mass regularly and prayed dozens of rosaries with far more enthusiasm than many of my Catholic classmates. It was the 60s and the time of Pope John's ecumenical conference. The winds were changing in the church, and excitement was in the air, except for the Methodist girl who had taken 2 years of Latin from a wonderfully demanding teacher, and who mostly understood the services, and who was dead set against changing from Latin to the language of the land. My Catholic friends very quickly set me straight on the fact that I did not get a vote, and they were elated to be able to more easily understand the Mass. After a couple of years, I realized Catholicism was the Christianity I knew, with a lot of extra baggage, so to speak, and while interesting, did not seem to fit. After starting my nursing practice at Methodist Hospital on Cumming Street, some of you don't even remember Methodist Hospital on Cumming Street, I continued to read about various religions. I knew that I definitely had God in my life, but I longed for something more. I wanted structure. At the time, I was dating both a Muslim and a Jew, not because of their religions, but because they were both great guys. I read more and asked lots of questions of these two, who had been raised in their respective religions, but were both agnostics at best, and capable of offering valid and not so valid information. And to be quite frank, my religious explorations were not really what they were interested in. That would change in our collective future. I married the Persian, a much more apt description of Hadi than Muslim, which he definitely was not. We had a wonderful baby boy, Philip, in our second year of residency. My mother wondered when he was going to be baptized. Hadi's mother wanted to be certain that he was circumcised. And his father wondered at our choice of Philip for his name, since Philip was the father of Alexander the Great, who laid waste to the Persian Empire. My father was simply thrilled that the pregnancy and birth went without a hitch, and that there was a healthy grandson to complement the granddaughter my sister had presented him with a year and a half earlier. After all, he was over 50 when he married a woman who had been told she would be unable to have children. I was born on their 11 November. Daddy was already old enough to be a great-grandfather by the time Cindy and I had our children. Of course, Philip was circumcised. He had a physician father and a nurse mother. But there was not the excitement or the solemnity of a religious ceremony. Philip and his father didn't seem to notice. I had a twinge of something left undone. Life is an uncertain thing, and I ended up back in Omaha, a divorced single parent, working at Clarkston Hospital. I mothered, I worked, I studied, I chose Judaism, and, oh yeah, I'm married to Jew. You know, the one I told you about earlier, who still, after almost 40 years of marriage, complains if I drag him to services too often. And more than once has commented to family and friends, you know how those converts are. We've had a terrific life in the congregation of Temple Israel. Rabbi Brooks and his wife Jane, who I will always consider a mentor, taught me in their conversion classes. After trying to scare me off, as was his duty, Rabbi Brooks welcomed me with open arms. He performed our marriage, our son was consecrated, Alan ushered high holidays. Rabbi Weinstein showed us endless compassion when we lost our first 2-day-old baby daughter, Sephora. Our daughter Courtney was named a year later and then consecrated. Alan ushered high holidays. With the urging of our friend Hermine Slybat, I became a table setter, maybe on back. Then worked dozens of committees for sisterhood, became chair of dozens of committees, became a sisterhood vice president, president-elect, and then sisterhood president. Those were the days when you worked your way up. I spent hours in the kitchen cooking and laughing with Hermine, Noni Selner, and other sisterhood friends, a tradition I have returned to in the past year with Toby Feldman and Sharon Commissar Langen. We are a team and we talk and laugh a lot. We hope some of you will join us for the special openings we did. Alan ushered high holiday. Philip was bar mitzvahed, youth group, and confirmed. Then went to college at Brandeis University, which has a long history of Jewish support. Courtney was consecrated, bat mitzvahed, and confirmed, and entered Tufts and the Boston Museum School of Art. Our kids felt Jewish to the core because of temple experiences and Alan's family's holiday celebrations. I became gift shop chair 21 years ago. Pretty good run. Alan ushered high holidays. As we lost our parents over the years, Judaism gave us a path and pattern of mourning, just as it had given us paths and patterns for our many Sundays. When Courtney died, Rabbi Asriel held us close, and the congregation and Jewish community gave us unbelievable support. Judaism gave me structure, the gift shop gave me a place to go, where I had to focus, but within my limited ability at the time. Philip was married to a Temple girl, Carrie Salzman, almost 14 years ago here in Temple, and they have given us 3 of the brightest, cutest, most creative grandchildren in the world. I have pictures. My path to Judaism was not sudden. It came from curiosity, searching, and learning. I had and continue to have many great teachers along the way, both in the classroom and in daily life. Any one of you may have been a teacher and never known it. The religion I chose as a thinking man's religion has evolved into a very spiritual place for me. As we decidedly prepare for our new home and the tri-faith community, I have to admit I'll miss this location. Not the brick and mortar, but the memories made and remembered here. On the other hand, brick and mortar are not what makes a congregation. People make a congregation. And thankfully, we will move forward together. See you in the gift shop.
Thank you for being one of our people and being here with us. And so often, as your husband shared, we're inspired by choice to bring us to Temple in a way that perhaps we couldn't have brought ourselves. So we'll continue as we turn to Aleinu.